When John White came back to Roanoke, the houses were gone, the people were gone, and one word was waiting in the wood. It was August 1590. He had crossed the Atlantic to save a colony and instead found the beginning of America's oldest mystery. The clue was not hidden. Croatoan was carved into a post. Nearby, the letters KRO had been cut into a tree. That word became a legend. But in White's own agreement with the settlers, a carved message meant they had moved. If they had been forced away, they were supposed to add a cross. White did not find one. The cruel part is that he still could not search properly. Bad weather and dangerous landing conditions pushed the ships away. To understand why they were there, start with Sir Walter Raleigh's gamble. An English foothold on the edge of Spain's empire. The first English colony on Roanoke had already failed. Ralph Lane's men ran short on supplies and made enemies. Before the famous disappearance, mistrust had already been planted. The next settlers inherited that danger. In 1587, White returned with families, not just soldiers. Men, women, and children were supposed to build permanence. White's daughter Eleanor gave birth there. Virginia Dare became the first English child born in the Americas. The colony needed food and help fast. The settlers persuaded White to sail back to England for supplies. He expected a quick return. Then England's war with Spain and the Armada turned months into 3 years. Back on Roanoke, the settlers were left with thin supplies, fragile alliances, and no certainty that help was coming. 3 winters is not a pause. For an exposed settlement, it is a lifetime of hunger, diplomacy, fear, and decisions. When White finally reached the coast, the weather was already punishing him. 7 mariners drowned during the landing attempt. At first, there were hints of life, smoke in the distance, then silence. Hope kept collapsing into questions. The settlement had not simply been smashed. Fortifications stood, but the people and many structures were gone. White found chests that had been dug up and spoiled, including his own books and pictures. But the message still mattered. Croatoan was not nonsense. It named an island and a people to the south. White did not read it as immediate proof of death. He believed they may have gone to their Croatoan allies. Then weather ended the search. White left without reaching Croatoan, and the only direct trail went cold. 4 centuries of theories rushed into that gap. Massacre, starvation, disease, Spanish attack, storm, or survival. The problem with the violent theories is what White did not report. No bodies, no clear battlefield, no distress cross. Survival would not look clean either. The colonists may have split up, carried tools, and asked native neighbors for help. Croatoan Island is now Hatteras. It was not far away, and friendly contact there was part of the story from the start. Manteo, a Croatoan man allied with the English, had already crossed between these worlds before the colony vanished. So the most grounded possibility is simple. The colonists were not swallowed by mystery. They moved. Archaeology on Hatteras has found European objects in native contexts: glass, metal, gun parts, and domestic fragments. Recent reports point to hammer scale, tiny waste flakes from iron working found in layers that may fit the period. If the dating holds, that matters. Hammer scale is not a trade trinket. It suggests someone was working iron there. But evidence first does not mean pretending certainty. Some experts still want more proof before calling the case solved. The myth grew because the ending has no witness. A missing colony is easier to haunt than to explain. The human version is harder. Hungry families making an orderly move into a world they barely understood. Some may have joined Croatoan communities, some may have gone elsewhere, some may not have survived. That may be why the record feels scattered. A colony can disappear from one place without every person sharing one fate. Why leave? Because staying meant waiting for a ship that might never come, inside a settlement already strained. Why carve Croatoan? Because if White returned, it told him where to start looking. The saddest part is that the clue may have been clear, and the weather still made it useless. So Roanoke probably was not a vanishing trick. It was a failed rescue, a relocation, and a record that broke. That does not make the mystery smaller. It makes it more human and harder to turn into a ghost story. Eleanor Dare, Virginia Dare, the craftsmen, servants, and families were not props in a legend. They were people under pressure. No survivor left us the final sentence. The only witness that stayed behind was the word on the post. The likely thread is relocation toward Croatoan, contact with native communities, and survival for at least some. The unproved part is the one everyone wants most. Who lived, who died, and what happened to the child? That is where evidence should stop us. The story can be dramatic without inventing a curse. If help was years late, food was thin, and allies waited down the coast. Would you stay with the fort? Roanoke was found empty. But empty is not the same as vanished. The last clue may have been the first answer all along.